Hello everybody and welcome to Planet FPL, the show where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
My name is James.
We are in the middle of game week 15, 8 games down, Amazon doing their bits with their win predictor, and 2 games to go.
Shit, win predictor, that's
win
awful.
Predictor. We were 1-0 down with, it was about 75 minutes if I remember correctly, and the guy said, our win predictor gives West Ham a 3% chance of winning, which is about right, to be fair. But also, if you look at it based on what the bookies would say, I don't think it was as low as 3%, but who knows what the
you can
win
tell us
predictor
in a bit. You were watching the game.
Made up of. And the other thing that was funny was so halfway through the second half, the commentator was like, if you want to go over, I mean, I think there was a goal in the Merseyside derby. So he was like, yo, goal in the Merseyside derby. Sadio Mane scores, which you can also watch on Amazon Prime. Why don't you switch over? I was like, of all the neutral fans, no one's chosen West Ham Wolves. And then thought, oh, shit, let me actually go and watch Liverpool instead. I'm like, it's Wolves fans and West Ham fans are watching the game. And that's it. No one else has chosen this game of all the games today. But all in all, I think having all the games on all the time has been good fun.
I think it's a way forward for football. I would, if Spurs were away at 3:00 and I couldn't go see a away game or couldn't get a ticket, prime examples like Bournemouth away, that's murder trying to get a ticket.
Yeah.
So even if it was on a pay-per-view and they said, look, it's the same price as an away ticket, you got a choice or not. I would pay the 30 quid for that to see my team. And the problem is, like, people will still access streams and that for free, which is why that's not in the process of happening at the moment.
No, it isn't. It's not been a good game week for me. I'm on 36 points. You're doing a little better on 53. I look at it this game week. I'm sitting on 36 points as it stands at the moment. And it's just one of those, really. I mean, I'm looking at blanks from Jimenez, Wood, Son, Pulisic, De Bruyne, Trent, Robbo, Edison. None of them are bad picks at all. I don't feel like I've got anyone in my squad that I need to bomb out straight away because they're doing particularly badly. Just happens to be one of those game weeks.
Yeah, it's been a shitter even for me. I think we obviously had a mixed bag Tuesday night with the Zaha and Jordan Ayew blanks, but Jesus' double felt good.
Yeah.
Felt a bit of justification in terms of taking that gamble to remove Abraham.
Yeah, I mean,
until he scored last night.
It's always gonna feel good, right?
We'll talk about Palace in a minute, and obviously Mason Mount scored last night. Captain return for Jamie Vardy, which so many of us obviously had.
Just when you mentioned Mason Mount return, that's because you're moaning about that because you don't own him anymore, right?
I don't own Mason Mount anymore. I'm not moaning about it. I mean,
it is what it is.
Once I see he was in the team, it's always a liable possibility, isn't it? Yeah. Sadio Mane's 15 could have well been 20 plus. There was the one obviously late in the game we walked around the goalkeeper and I don't know why he didn't shoot. It was a little bit bizarre. I've seen a few people who gambled to captain Sadio Mane. Well done. You're the big winners of the week, I think.
I don't think it's a gamble either, though, really. I think
it's a gamble from the experience of the weekend gone, particularly for someone like myself who went for Mane at the weekend, to then essentially a drop rank. Although I'd only lost out on like 4 odd points, I took a massive hit going against that because everybody else had those 4 points, right?
Yeah.
I've dropped 1,500 so far this game week.
With 53 points?
Yeah.
Wow, I've dropped 300,000.
I will drop more tonight following the games, the 2 games that remain, because I've only got John Lundstrom, Aubameyang or Ryan. There's going to be something somewhere that's going to get me. A Sheffield United clean sheet for those who've got sort of the double up would be a blow. The only way that's going to get me out of it is if, I don't know, Sheffield United win 3-1, John Lundstrom gets hat-trick and Arsenal and Brighton's 1-1 and the goals are scored by Guendouzi and Dale Stephens, basically.
Yeah, I've got Kelly with 6 points and Rico with 9 on my bench as well, which is a little bit painful. Ultimately, I'm actually coming away with these 36 points, and let's say Lundstrom plays and he picks up 38 points, relatively happy, because at half-time in most of the games yesterday, I was on 12.
Nice.
Jamie Vardy's captain goal and Maddison's late goal were the only things that, and Trent's assist actually, to be fair, the only things that dragged me out of that 12-point situation. I thought I might end up on 20. So yeah, it was going particularly badly with all the yellow cards and stuff. I think this is one of those weeks that I am so glad 48 hours later there's another game week to get stuck into straight away. And so yeah, let's talk about some of the games over the last couple of days. We've been able to watch a bit more because of Amazon.
Yeah. Most of it's been shit.
It's not
what I've watched has mainly been shite.
It's not been a memorable midweek, really, in a lot of ways. Palace won, Bournemouth 0. I'm got to give credit to Palace for being down to 10 men, and I think what they did really well was lull Bournemouth into traps of thinking that they could play out and then trying to hit them on the counter. And Zaha is very good at that. Very, very good at that, which they did, and they managed the game well, and in the end ended up coming out with the victory.
Yeah, Palace were looking for that counter, particularly down that left-hand side when they did break with, obviously, PVA went off injured. We don't know the extent yet, but I think minor hamstring looks like, so probably going to miss a couple of weeks. So Jeffrey Schlupp will get a run at left-back now, and obviously scored. He is priced as a midfielder in the game, so it's obviously one not to look at. Well, Jordan Ayew, from a non-FPL perspective, was absolutely outstanding up front for Palace. So the good news off that would be that I think he's going to stay in the team and keep getting minutes. I thought there might have been a temptation from their perspective later in the game to bring Benteke on, but Ayew was holding it up so well. No qualms with like the Zaha blank here, 70-odd minutes. I mean, it is what it is. Don't judge it.
You said it before, and I'm with you, man. You buy him, you stick with him till New Year's Day, and don't think twice about it.
Possibly longer.
Yeah. But New Year's Day is a definite.
Yeah. So no concerns. We said, preempted it. There will be blanks in this period. The XG in this game was really low. Palace's was 0.49, Bournemouth 0.62. Just a note on something I spotted when I was looking at some numbers yesterday. Nathan Ake had a pass completion rate of 99%. 92 out of 93 passes, which...
Okay. That was going to be my next question. How many passes did he make?
Well, that's huge.
But even 93 passes, I mean, some teams make 300, 400 in a whole game. So that's a quarter of a team's passes sometimes.
I think the most for the week was Kante at about 114, I think, for the game week so far. But the reason it drew my attention and I looked at it was because of how stale Bournemouth were. And again, I was thinking back to the conversation I'd had with AFC BNG on Saturday about how impotent they were going forward. So I'd looked to see if I could compare these numbers with anybody else throughout this season so far for Ake. So the highest 100% completion for passes I could find was Danny Ceballos against Aston Villa in game week 6, who actually went off after 72 minutes at 2-1 down. Mm-hmm. So if we're saying Ake got 92 out of 93, the most completed at 100% is 43.
Right.
So pass completion rate's really good here. The only other ones I could find comparable was Siyunku had 80 out of 81 attempted passes against Newcastle in game week 7. And Musa Sissoko had 91 out of 93 in game week 3. Both of those last two were in fixtures against Newcastle, who obviously set up very deep. And in that Leicester case, Newcastle obviously went down to 10 men. The point here is Arsenal were losing at the time when Ceballos went off against Villa. Spurs lost to Newcastle that day, and obviously Bournemouth lost to Crystal Palace on Tuesday night. And Bournemouth, I think, are at the moment they played obviously in the week with Harry Wilson on the right, who's left-footed. Danjuma played mainly off the left, who's right-footed. Everything was coming inside, and I think they've been moving away for a while from what they're really good at.
Wide players,
yeah,
a little bit.
And it's just become quite slow and pedestrian for Bournemouth, and that's why I wanted to highlight that Harry Wilson's ineligible for the fixture against
going to be a big
Liverpool
loss for them
at the weekend. And just a note on Diego Rico, who obviously picked up the max bonus for the clean sheet, going off at about 63 odd minutes, sitting on Suji's bench and plenty of others. I'm sure he's in a few teams as well. But obviously it was him that was sacrificed, and considering his delivery is quite good, I was surprised about that. It just made him even more narrow. I'm not sure if Rico's going to be knocking about in that team much longer, is my fear on that. But I think the fixtures coming up mean you probably weren't starting him anyway.
Yeah, no, but he is great bench filler for the liver blank, which is coming up. So if he doesn't play in that week, then that's a bit of a problem.
Yes.
But I think that week's actually going to end up a bit of a shit show for a lot of people because of the yellow cards and suspensions and rotation. It's just going to be one of those hold your breath and deal with it kind of weeks, really.
They've got one of the better fixtures on the day at home to Burnley, so there might be some gambles on them at the moment. But I think of those with decent home fixtures on that game week, I'd be more keen to get involved in Villa than Bournemouth, I think.
Burnley won, Man City 4. I don't know if you can really say Man City back to any kind of form because they could just as easily throw it away against United this weekend in the derby. But free-flowing City, the issue here with City has always been the issue, who's going to get the returns. And you've got the two highest owned probably in Sterling and De Bruyne, or the two most popular picks anyway, who didn't return. David Silva popped up with 2 assists, 6 for the season now. Bernardo Silva popped up with a couple of assists. Mahrez, Rodri, Jesus, spreading the points around as they like to do. It's just a case of whether or not this will kickstart City, because now I think that 8-point gap is very real for them. They do need to start really picking up results.
They're further behind,
Is it 11?
I think so.
Oh, okay,
Or 10?
I think they closed
10?
it to 8. Maybe. Leicester's 8, isn't it, at the moment? But yeah. I don't know. Are you any more enthused? Both of us have Kevin De Bruyne. You've got Jesus as a short-term punt. Are you any more enthused about Man City assets?
No, not particularly.
Not even David Silva, 7.6 million.
The gap to Liverpool is 11 points.
11.
David Silva's a really interesting one. He's played well again. I always feel they're better when Bernardo plays, and no surprise that he got returns as well. The one that stood out for City on the night was Rodri. I thought was exceptional, particularly so because Burnley changed to a system that didn't really work from last year, away from 2 forwards to a 4-4-1-1 with Jeff Hendrick playing off of Chris Wood, and I think that was designed for Hendrick to try and get around Rodri. It just didn't happen. Rodri was too good on the night, and he's going to get a run of fixtures. I don't know if there's any coincidence here in the fact that City looked better again and Gundogan didn't play. Because there are some numbers that seem to support the fact that they're a better side when Gundogan doesn't play. And I think at the moment that's their best setup while they've got the problems at centre-back with Fernandinho playing there is to go, Rodri, David Silva, De Bruyne. And I think, obviously, David Silva will probably dip in and out over the Christmas period a bit for Foden, but I'd expect the other two to play minutes. De Bruyne's not going anywhere for me. I certainly wouldn't be advising to sell City assets ahead of United. I accepted a price drop for Benjamin Mendy last night, so I'm probably going to hold Mendy now this game week at home to United. I left him a second sub because I didn't think he'd start, so that was a touch. But I would expect him to. That
last-minute goal from Burnley didn't really affect you in any way, anyway.
No, I had nothing defensive from De Bruyne. Had already come off as well, so Edison I'd had the 3 points in the bank.
Lost his clean sheet, annoyingly.
Yeah, I mean that's the one I'd bin. I mean, I'm looking to bin Mendy, but I'm not sure. I'm not. The move I'm probably going to make is to Martin Kelly and then spread the funds. But with having accepted the drop last night, because I wanted to get through the fixtures first, particularly, for example, say John Lundstrom could pick up a 5th booking tonight. I might need to look at some other things. So, yeah, I expect Mendy to come back in at the weekend. I think defensively, you want to be moving away, but I wouldn't be desperate to do it before United, who we'll come on to in a bit. De Bruyne's the hold for me, and I can see the temptation, having held Sterling for this long now, why you'd keep holding with like game week 18, and chances are that a lot of people on Mane will want to potentially move to Sterling that game week. So probably the attacking assets you'd have would probably hold at the moment.
Chelsea last night picked up a victory against Villa. Tammy Abraham came back with a goal and an assist. Played 82 minutes. You think he's going to be all right now for the weekend, even though he's still got a flag on official FPL.
Because he picked up another knock last night.
Oh, did he? Is that why he came off?
Not serious again, but Lampard wasn't giving much away after the game. Yeah. So at the time of recording, we've really unfortunately got no idea. But obviously, if you've held, you're going to continue to hold. Saw a lot of people leave him on the bench. A lot.
I think with players like that, you just play them and let the auto sub situation
I think so,
deal with it.
I guess there was a fear that he'd only get 20 minutes at the end, for example, which is with obviously this particular week where there looked like there were so many good options. I wouldn't have done that personally, but I can understand in certain circumstances why people would have.
This weekend they're away at Everton. You got to be playing all your Chelsea assets away at Everton.
Oh yeah.
What's your views on Tamori? Tamori got benched. Is this a rotation concern, or is it just give the kid a rest in a game that we'll probably win? I'm erring on the side of the latter. Tamori's a better player than Christensen. He's a better player he's as good as Zuma. He's maybe not as good as Rudiger yet, but I think he's just as solid as the other two.
It's a concern though, because he was rested for the midweek game at Valencia last week as well. So with the amount of fixtures coming up, I mean, playing at centre back, there really shouldn't be issues from a fitness perspective or anything like that. It could be that he felt of the three fixtures that Villa was the weakest. I mean, I think in hindsight, really looking at West Ham, the form they were in, Villa last night, and the way Everton are playing, you'd possibly look at it form-wise going into the game and going, last night might have looked the toughest, the Villa game.
Yep.
So I was surprised. I was going to buy him for Sky, and obviously saw you left out, and obviously didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really not sure where that stands. You've got to hold him, I think. Like, it's not where you're going to go to.
Most people have bought him cheap and built up value in him, so that's where he's at.
Slight tweak for them tactically last night. Obviously, they kind of played it against West Ham as well. With obviously Mount was much higher yesterday, playing at 10 in the position that the reason we all bought him for in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I think those who've held will be really happy at the moment. Had 25 shots last night. Chelsea's the most of the game week, 9 on target, which is the most of the game week. Tom Heaton's 7 saves were the most of any keeper this game week so far. Just a couple of notes on Villa. Obviously, Gilbert was suspended last night. We expect will come back for the weekend. Ezri Konsa has now played 4 in a row at centre-half. Engels got injured and he come in and he's kept his place. He's an England under-21 centre-half. He had 6 blocks last night, which was the most of any player so far this game week. And he's only 4.3. And if he can hold on to that shirt coming towards game week 18... where Villa have got 3 nice fixtures in a row, he might offer an alternative, actually. I would still prefer to pay the extra 0.1 or so for Gilbert or Target. My preference, Matt Target, yeah.
Interesting there. Leicester managed to claw it back in the second half, although having said that, I mean, this is a game where VAR might have had an impact. I don't know is VAR allowed to step in on things like yellow cards, for example? Because Jamie Vardy, in my opinion, was clearly clipped.
Well, had they given the penalty, obviously the yellow card would have been annulled. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was clipped.
But then
I didn't see one replay of it.
But then the penalty they got in the second half, in my opinion, I don't know what that is. You see them sort of contacts. Was it Johnny Evans and Messina? It was very innocuous. You see them sort of things happen all the time. I don't know how they've looked at that back and still gone. Was that I don't know, like a consolation on the fact they didn't give the one in the first half.
Quite often that's what they do, isn't it?
But VAR shouldn't be doing that. No, you can understand the human aspect of the referee sort of on reflection going, did I get that one wrong in the first half? VAR's got to judge every instance individually. So, I mean, it's one of the many frustrations with it. It's
there is a debate now on captaincy for this weekend. I'm leaving the armband on Jamie Vardy. I mean, he scored again. He's on a nice run, is our friend Jamie Vardy. I just think he's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in the bounce.
I think I'm going to do the same. There's a temptation for me on 2 others, which are Mane and Jesus. I'm concerned about Mane starting this weekend after the trick that Klopp pulled last night.
I do think I'm with you on that, actually. I think, look, it's Salah and Firmino's chance to get rested. And now he might give Mane a rest at the weekend. And Origi played fucking well.
They need a result in Austria in the Champions League next week. If they lose, they're going out.
Yeah.
So that's a big game for them as well.
I mean, Shaqiri and Origi contributed yesterday. I don't think he's got any fear of playing either of those two alongside Firmino and Salah. It wouldn't surprise me if he dropped Sadio Mane.
I think
this
that's
weekend.
a possibility. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
expect
probably
him to, but I think it's a possibility.
25%,
Put it this way: if you're
25%
making that call between Mane and Vardy, I think there's enough
Keep it
doubt to think I'm gonna have to go Vardy now. I think the other one to debate for me is that's more the one is Jesus. Do I maybe go Jesus at home to United? I would more do that than Mane.
I think City.
But I think I'm going to end up going Vardy again.
City need to make a statement. There's 11 points is no joke now. So they'll want to make a statement against United. I can see City winning that and scoring 2 or 3 goals.
And obviously, Liverpool go first. It could be 14 points by the time they kick off.
I mean, that's a big
well, I
lead.
think it's too much already.
Yeah,
I think it's too much.
The way Liverpool are playing, for sure.
But it's not too much for Leicester.
Well, we'll see. What about Watford?
They're still in. They're still in sight.
Now? Watford gone?
Well, I don't really know what they've done here in terms of
getting rid of Flores.
Well, I don't know what's the plan. I don't really know.
It's awful this season, but it's 8 points in 18 now in the league. That's relegation.
When they sacked Gracia, it was all done and changed within an hour and 15, wasn't it? I think between statement of Gracia sacked to Flores in was like an hour and a quarter. They obviously sacked him this time, Flores, and didn't have a plan of what they were doing. Unless, do they believe that Hayden Mullins is going to be their man? He made a tactical tweak last night, back to a more traditional 4-4-2, basically. Ismail Sarr, who played up front at Southampton, played in a wide position. Troy Deeney came back into the team up front. They had a very low XG. Watford a 0.28, didn't particularly threaten. They've got to be decisive really quick, or this is going to get away from them. Obviously, like Southampton won again last night. That gap's getting bigger now. Just a couple of notes on Leicester. Ben Chilwell obviously missed out. I'm told Christian Fuchs played really well, actually, at left back to deal with that threat of Sarr's place on that side of the pitch. And from the bits that I saw, Harvey Barnes was very, very lively. But I saw that he hasn't scored yet at the King Power, which is a strange stat. So, just the one change from Leicester. Obviously, the 4-game break to Villa, so we'd expect the same team, unless obviously if Chilwell, we think, will probably be fit for the Villa game, we'll come back in.
You watched the Manchester United Spurs game for what it was worth. All the feedback, a lot from you, is that Spurs were very average to not very good to rubbish.
I very rarely tweet during a game.
Yeah, I know.
Very rarely. Yeah. I was annoyed. I needed to vent. Abject was the word that I used last night, and I think I was being very kind using that word. We were shockingly bad.
Why?
I think
just one of those days. Sometimes you have off days.
No, that's not a day. That's the quality of football, and the football club's not good enough. This is why I urge caution following the 3 wins, because the teams that we played, and I'm sorry, were not great.
No.
Right? And we still conceded 6 goals in those games. I made on Tottenham on Tuesday. I spoke at length about Gazaniga, didn't I?
Should have saved Rashford's first.
Should have.
100%.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean, he hit it well, but he should have saved it.
He actually dived too far. He ended up trying to save it with like his forearm or something. It was
not good.
He makes me nervous, and that problem defensively is going to continue, like I said, until Lloris is back or we buy another one in January. So clean sheet's not going to come. Why were we so bad? I think both teams were really conscious of the counter-attack, and both defensive lines played quite deep. United got the balance far better than us, mainly because Fred and McTominay played really well in central midfield. It was the best I've seen Fred play. And McTominay, who can be a little bit overzealous with his passing because he fires them in so fast. But I like that. He plays a pass like he means it. They were far better than Winks and Sissoko. And that was the major difference in the game. Plus, they had the best player on the pitch.
Rashford.
He was sensational last night. I mean, on that...
Pace,
everything,
aggression,
everything.
The lot. Do you want to get him into your team? That's always a question.
Well, I'd
like to get him into mine.
I've had a few questions on that. It's not the right week.
Yeah, now's not the right week for sure.
City away at the weekend. I don't care what you think of City defensively at the moment. It's not the right week.
But after that, they have a decent run. Everton at home, Watford away, Newcastle at home, Burnley away.
Yeah. Well, I talked about Jesus, didn't I, for these 3 games that ends with United at the weekend. And probably depending on Aguero's fitness, that's a are moves that I could very seriously be making. I think as it stands now on paper, he's the best captain option in game week 18. Marcus Rashford away to Watford on that Sunday.
I know when we've run down run through the games, I want to have a look at what we're going to do for game week 16 and maybe a little bit of forward planning for 18. He's there in my thoughts. I'm just looking at how I can manoeuvre a way to get him into my team at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see.
On Spurs, just Martial as well. There was
Injured.
a rumour which had mentioned on the stream I did on Tuesday that there'd been a rumour going around that he was one. Solskjaer said there'd been some knocks in the presser and names weren't given away. Ben Dinnery put on his timeline that he thought that Martial was possibly one of them. And there's no confirmation on that injury. Listen, the last time Martial was injured, it was meant to be a week, and that went on for about 6 weeks, didn't it?
It did.
If you own Anthony Martial with that fixture at the weekend as well, I think it's a good excuse to sell and get Rashford as your United asset going forward on the other side. On Spurs, Christ, man, so bad. The midfield's the major problem because quality-wise, they are.
Do you mean the two behind the three?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
Sissoko
Son last night was completely ineffective, and he is so often in these fixtures. That's why I said short-termism. Dele Alli, what a goal, by the way, but it was the only thing we did in the game.
Yeah.
Until we fix that midfield problem, sort the goalkeeper problem out because it's causing defensive panic, problems are going to continue. Here's a nice stat for you from last night: 23 crosses from Spurs, 2 successful.
Whoa.
So. It's all well and good getting this tactic. Yeah, let's get Aurier high and let's get Aurier swinging those crosses in.
His crosses never beat the first man.
This is the bit where I go, yeah, shit, now we're playing like this. Can I get trips back? Because at least he could deliver
a ball. He had a great delivery with his right foot.
Yeah, the watching brief on Tottenham should continue. People are still, Ali or Son. That period up to Boxing Day is getting shorter now. So the longer you leave it, the more I would probably say go towards Son. I don't think I was wrong in saying the short-term solution would be Dele Alli. I think that will still be the case against, if you want to buy one for whatever reason for this weekend, I would still say Dele Alli. But
I think you got to hold tight a little
bit. My advice is keep this watching brief until you get to Boxing Day.
I'm not fully convinced about this fixture. Burnley at home. You spoke about it on the podcast we put out earlier in the week. Every game against Spurs has always had only a goal in it. And they've just come off the back of conceding 4 against you, losing 2 against Palace.
They were bad Tuesday.
Who, Burnley? Yeah, but then Sean Dyche can get them organised. Like, would I be confident in Sean Dyche being able to put them into a winning structure? I think I am. They'll probably still lose, but I wouldn't. It's not as bad as some of the teams in the league right now. Southampton picking up points again. If anyone went on Danny Ings 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago from Pookie or whoever else you were thinking about, he keeps returning 4 and 4 for the man now. I don't know if we're ever going to say, yeah, fine, all right, get Ings. I don't feel like he's that player that will ever endorse, if that's the right way to put it.
So consider this player in focus moment because I've had a deeper dive into Danny Ings' numbers.
Dings.
I'm branching out here with this numbers.
Yeah, this stat stuff. I don't know if I like it, mate. It's just too statty.
But some of this is good, right? So Danny Ings has now scored 7 goals since game week 7.
Correct.
So I think it's 7 in 9, is it? I think it's roughly about
game
right.
week 7 to 15.
So I looked back to the game week 7 fixture was when he robbed the ball off Loris for the ridiculous goal at Tottenham. Yeah. So I looked back from his statistics from then to now. He's obviously second for goals in that period. His FPL points in that period is 59. It's the 4th highest. This is of all players. In that period, he's had 15 bonus points. That's more than any other player since game week 7.
It's a lot.
His XG is 4.56, which is obviously overperforming. That's the 8th highest. He's had 8 big chances in that period, which is the 7th highest. And also, very importantly with Danny Ings, his goal involvement during that period is 64%. So what that means is of all the goals Southampton have scored in that period, he's in 60.
So he's talking about talisman.
Essentially, 2 in every 3 of Southampton's goals, he's either scoring or assisting. He's very much a talisman at the moment. The problem is, you feel like you've missed these fixtures. Yeah. Now, there are still 3 good ones to come, But looking at it, after Watford and Norwich at home, feels like it's a bit after the horse has already bolted, doesn't it? A little bit.
Yep.
So, yeah, but you can't argue them numbers. And if he stays fit...
but neither of us are going to be buying him.
No, I don't think I will be, unfortunately. He can do me a job for the South team. Oh, we need to talk about that tomorrow. Stop bothering making transfers now, have you?
Yeah. Did I burn one the other week?
I don't think you made a transfer for a number of weeks.
We
talk about that tomorrow.
I haven't even looked at this week's scores. Are you doing better than me this week?
Yes, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Did I not just leave the armband on Mane?
I know you're like, then Donker, come off the bench. It's ridiculous, mate. Aguero's still in your team. What are you doing?
Oh, I forgot.
Just a couple of other notes on this. Todd Cantwell ended up really deep in the game because he started from the right and a lot of Southampton's attacks came down the left-hand sides. Ryan Bertrand scored, obviously, from a corner, but it wasn't particularly from the left-hand side. But a lot of the play, Ings was working that channel a lot. They were going down the left predominantly during the fixture. JWP is now 4 in 5, 3 goals and 1 assist.
Love JWP.
Just thought I'd get that in there.
Yeah.
And just a couple of other things to notice, because obviously, thinking back to that Leicester fixture when they were obviously, it felt like Hassan Hutel was dead and buried. Some of Højbjerg's numbers from last night are really good. 8 tackles, 21 recoveries, really impressive. They seem a lot better now. They've gone to Højbjerg and Ward-Prowse essentially as the midfield too.
We've got them end of next weekend, not this week, so game week 17. And I'm not looking forward to that because it is at St Mary's, and obviously we're not playing particularly well at the moment. So yeah, they've got Newcastle away. Newcastle are defensively organised. I don't know. I'm not convinced on Southampton yet.
No, me neither.
There are a couple of bits and pieces of value there, but not convinced yet. Wolves 2, West Ham 0. You seen the highlights or?
I've literally seen nothing bar 2 minutes worth because I just thought I'd let you do this.
Wolves, West Ham. I don't know if I'm starting to get the feeling that I watch West Ham through a very optimistic lens. Like I'm very quick and easy to forget anything we do wrong, or just kind of, I'm an optimistic fan at the best of times. So, but as the game went on, it was really apparent the golfing class between the two teams. Maybe not talent, but definitely organisation, knowing what they're doing, having a game plan. They were just organised. They sat off us. We had to do a lot of defensive work. I saw Bradley, our Wolves correspondent, put a tweet out, and I couldn't argue with everything he said, other than Declan Rice was shit. You said it against Spurs, right? That he had so much. He's giving Cresswell help on the left with Traore. Then he's giving help at right back. Then he's up against Jota. Like, he's covering everything. He was not good on the ball. Like, his passing needs to improve. But I think he's fucking knackered because he's just literally running around so much, providing defensive cover. And we had to do a lot of defensive work. Excuse me. First 20, 25 minutes, we defended well, but we had to do a lot of it. And I think it just kind of ground us out. And what I noticed in the second, like as the game went on, is when we had the ball in their half, the way they hunt you down in packs of 2 and 3, Jimenez sprints and closing down our centre-backs and Declan Rice and whoever else had it. I was like, why don't we do that?
That's interesting, actually. Don't always. They're very good when they do it.
Packs of 2 and 3.
Don't often. They press in the right areas at the right times. They're very well coached defensively.
That was such a difference within the game. And Traore, I mean, he won the man of the match on the night. We had the chat about. He didn't get the Sky man of the match, but he won the man of the match. Whoever's awarding it, Amazon or whatever.
The Amazon Opta statistical man of the match. Yeah, okay.
And fully deserved. Like, he's tracking back and defending. He's getting forward and causing havoc. He's doing the lot. But you've got to think that Cresswell versus Traore is a mismatch.
In fairness, if Traore's on it, everybody's a mismatch.
True. But we had the same situation on the other side with St. Maximin and Zabaleta. It's a mixed match in terms of pace and speed. They're never going to keep up. Haller, anonymous. He's a problem. Haller is a problem. Anonymous. I've seen a few tweets where people have said that we're not playing to his strengths. We bought a great striker and we're just not using him well.
Is he a great striker?
I'm not in that camp.
what of him being a great striker.
Yeah, I'm concerned about his ability at the moment.
I don't know what people's judgment is of great strikers at the
Well,
moment.
I fully accept that he hasn't. Maybe we're not playing to strengths. I don't know.
So what's his strengths? Has he got to play with two up front?
Maybe. I'd like to see it.
Him play with Antonio.
Yeah, him
perhaps
with
take
Antonio.
some of that power and problem off him and be less back to goal. Yeah, possibly. Can you afford to play like that though?
Well, we'd have to sacrifice one of Fornals, Snodgrass,
I think you probably have to go to a diamond to make that work and still be compact defensively.
Yeah.
And then you lose the wide ball in for two players that are very good in the air. So I think that counters it somewhat.
Fornals had a slightly better game. He was getting about the pitch and trying to make things happen, and Anderson, but they're just toothless a little bit, to be honest with you, because they've got no outlet up front. Haller is a big problem, and I actually think he's the biggest problem in the team right now. David Martin, talking about goalkeeping, did okay.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, he was much better. He didn't stand a chance with the first goal.
No, I didn't think there was anything he could do about it.
Fredericks fucked it. He shouldn't have let Dendoncker go. And the second one is a sweet hit. At the end of the game, it's like that game was lost. I think the Amazon win predictor of 3% was right. We'll struggle for a while now. I actually think, if we do go down, that's what's concerning. We don't have the players to get back out. We've got a bunch of flair players.
Really worried?
Yep. Genuinely. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the point I made in my tweet that I put out yesterday that you shared, right? That was their third game in 6 days.
Yeah.
To be outrun and outpressed by that was ridiculous. Wolves, on the other hand, look, Moutinho's taking the set pieces, worth a consideration. Jimenez, who I brought into my team the week before last, I was impressed with as well, creating chances, causing trouble for the centre-backs. You'll get as many assists as you will goals out of that guy. Jota, maybe. He's not the same as last year, but Moutinho, interesting.
Well, I think he's playing in a more of a wide position now, isn't he?
Traore is a consideration as well. I think he's going to cause a lot of... I think he's going to end up being a good player, but a bad FPL asset, Traore. But he's priced at 5.2 million, so he's pretty cheap. I like Wolves. Patricio played well in goal as well. He might be a consideration. If he's still 4.5, is he? Possibly, maybe.
Who's that?
Patricio in goal.
No, he's like 5'2" or something.
Oh, he started at 5, did he?
Yeah.
But he played well as well. Made a couple of good
if he
saves.
started at 4'5" again, we'd have all had him,
mate. Wolves, I started the season saying forget this because of Europa League and all the rest of it. They've proved us all wrong. 5th, playing good football, and it's all down to Nuno. I think Nuno is really good. A lot of people at Arsenal don't want him. I don't know how Tottenham would have felt about trying to poach him. I'd have him in a heartbeat.
They're 5th, 6 points off Chelsea.
Yeah.
Are they the best outside the top 4, the current top 4?
Are they the best? So who falls into that bracket? Because
Everybody
Everton,
bar
West
the top
Ham don't fall into that bracket.
No, I'm saying are they better than Man United, Tottenham, Arsenal, for example?
As good as on their day. They'll give you a
gone
game.
through this period without Willy Bolly as well, who I think when it happened, we were like, stay away. That's going to be such a massive blow for them.
Yeah.
And Bennett's obviously been injured as well. Willy Bolly was particularly a miss. So it feels like they fixed it during the second half of that game at Newcastle a few weeks ago when they got who's the fella that Bradley said was so bad? I've forgotten his name. They put Dendoncker back to right side of centre half. Yeah. And it's been better since then.
Wolves.
I think they'll go very, very deep in Europa League. I think they could win that competition with the way they play and the way they can comfortably counter-attack sides. I really think it could go the whole way in it.
They're just so neat and tidy.
Now, at that point, league performances will become very awkward further down the line. It's not a worry now. Like I said, they're already through. Jimenez is suspended for that Europa League game coming up. And he's still the one you're going to go to, really.
I agree.
Although Moutinho is another one who's got 4 returns in the last 5, a goal and 3 assists. I think it's 5.3 million, João Moutinho.
Yeah, Moutinho's decent. He's on the corners. He's taking decent set pieces.
I think if I was going to go in one of those cheapy area ones like Moutinho against Traore, I'd go Moutinho, actually.
Yeah, Moutinho's
being on the
not
set
a bad
pieces
shout.
and that as well, yeah.
There's no one that you can consider at West Ham. Firstly, you wouldn't buy anyone now because we have a blank in Game Week 18, just like Liverpool do. And secondly, you can't consider us. I felt my heart dropped when I saw the team. That Antonio had the knock.
Oh, as soon as I saw that, I knew you were beat. Following the conversations we'd had on Tuesday.
My 7-year-old, he had to have a day off school yesterday. He's genuinely sick, but I told him for a couple of days that he could stay up late because the game was going to be on telly, and we'd
Why are you punishing your children?
Have a little watch.
That's so horrible.
He doesn't care, but in the sense that win or lose, it's still just time to spend with Dad, right?
Aww.
But yeah, we sat down on the sofa, and as soon as I saw Antonio wasn't in the team, I was disappointed, and I was fearful. If Antonio had played, I actually thought we had a chance in the game. As soon as I saw he was not playing, it went from maybe 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 to 0 straight away. What does that say? I don't know. We've got a striker problem, and we let so many go in the summer. Chicharito and all right, some of these were bit part.
They weren't good enough long-term options anyway.
But they're better than what we've got right now. I tell you that.
So having now lost again, is it sack the manager again? Just to clarify.
Well, I was never. He bought himself more time with the Chelsea victory.
Of course he has.
But that wasn't saving his job. It was he still had to prove it, and his head's on the chopping block. Like Monday night against Arsenal, I was looking forward to as a game under the lights that we'll be up for, and I'm more fearful now.
I think if Antonio plays, you'll win. I think if he doesn't, you'll get paid.
And the atmosphere will get hostile. If we're bad on Monday, the atmosphere is going to get very, very, very hostile. I feel it now already.
Yeah.
That the atmosphere is going to be bad. So we'll talk on Tuesday, right? The day after, and I'll give you a real opinion on what's going to happen. But straight after that, into Southampton, we've got Leicester over the Christmas period. I wanted 6 points from now and the new year. I still want 6 points, so 3 more.
I think just looking at the table, I mean, you're 2 points clear of Everton, who we'll talk about in a second, have now fallen to 18th. Same points as Bournemouth. I actually think that I don't think I've ever felt this with them. I think they're going to get dragged into it.
Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I feel the same. And we've talked about this in previous weeks, and you said nah.
I always feel they've got enough attacking quality, but following that conversation with Neil at the weekend, if they're not scoring goals,
this ain't happening.
They'll slide down that table, and obviously they're 2 points clear of it. And they got Liverpool at the weekend. We literally could be here in 4 days going, they're in the shit, big time.
Don't know how bright.
Just one thing, our friend Gary Shepherd, who sent us the books, isn't he a Wolves fan?
I'm not sure.
I think he is.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm not sure. Anyway, Gary Shepherd, thanks for the books you sent us. Much appreciated.
We'll do a proper shout out. We'll show his book on the final plan tomorrow.
All right, cool.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the last game, and then maybe we'll talk about our transfers and chuck in a Twitter question or two. Liverpool 5, Everton 2.
So, go on. You look desperate to get something off your chest, mate.
No, it was just... I've switched over at half-time, which is when Shaqiri scored, I think. When Trent put that 60-yard crossfield pass across to Mane. Mane threaded him through, and he just finished it. Trent's pass was just fucking mustard on it. Just the nonchalance of that 60-yard ball... Mane just cutting in, sliding through. It was too easy. It was a knife through butter.
Is Sadio Mane now the best player in the Premier League?
I don't think that those kind of questions are particularly easy to answer or really good questions because everyone's got different abilities and skills, right? Like Kevin De Bruyne's still got to be up there. I think Kevin De Bruyne will go down as the player that was the best ever player to get zero recognition. How he's not even in the top 3 for Ballon d'Or, for example. It's Messi, VVD, Ronaldo, every other year.
De Bruyne was injured for the first
I understand last year.
Part of the year.
I've never seen him mentioned in these awards and stuff that get bandied about.
If Belgium can sort themselves defensively and they win the Euros, which a lot of people think they might, then that recognition will come from him in 2020.
Yeah, maybe they'll probably fucking
and
give it to Lukaku.
If City win the Champions League... Benteke.
Yeah, exactly.
Benteke leading the line for Belgium.
Yeah, so look, De Bruyne's up there. Mane, if you asked me to name a top 3, Mane would be in it. Like, without a question of a doubt. Best player is a lot harder to...
I think he's going to romp player of the year this year.
The rate he's going statistically, without a doubt, and if Liverpool win the league, first time in how many years, and who is the main man when a team like Liverpool rise back to glory, he'll get it. 100%.
Let's ask a different question then.
Sure.
Is he now the man at Liverpool?
He's the man at Liverpool. Oh, yeah. He's taken over from Salah.
Is he well past him?
Huh?
I know obviously it's difficult because Salah didn't play last night, so you can't compare. Obviously Salah has had this niggling injury for a while. But has he overtaken Salah from that perspective?
Talisman, yeah, I think so. Most FPL managers and serious FPL managers who had Salah at the start of the season would swear by Salah will all have switched across to Sadio Mane by now. It says, Salah's ownership is 23, something like that, give or take. Low 20s. How much of that is dead teams?
More than half, I'd say. It's 21.6% owned now, Mo Salah.
21, right?
His live ownership, I would say, is less than 10% right now. Someone will confirm that for me.
Does that not just answer the question there? Surely Mane at 40%, Salah live ownership at 10.
Yeah, I think it partly does. But what I'm saying is that obviously there is mitigating circumstance there for Salah with the injury.
True. He's not been the same. I mean, give him a rest and he may come back better. But do you know what? Fuck Mane, because I haven't got him in my team and I hate seeing him week in, week out without having him in my team. Might need to manoeuvre a way to get him in.
It's probably a bit late now, only 2 more fixtures before 18.
Yeah, it'll be after 18. But
you're probably not doing it now. Do we want to talk about him defensively or just not bother anyone?
We'll talk about defences in general when we talk about transfers a little bit, because I may get rid of Edison now.
There is still a little bit of me that every time I see someone, I'm done with them defensively. I every week I keep thinking, yeah, go on, disappear, get away from them. I'll keep them. It will turn for me eventually. This is one where it becomes a problem. So yeah, Trent got an assist yesterday, but he's also got a yellow card and they've conceded twice.
And
so there's only 3 points. And Robertson,
so 4 points between the two of them with an
bad.
attacking return is rare. First time they've conceded 2 goals in the league all season. I'm not moving from them because of the attacking returns. I think you just put it down to a bad day at the office where 2 goals and the yellow card have conspired to make what could have maybe been a 7, 8, 9 point return, a 4 point return.
They play in the next 2 fixtures. A Watford side who are the poorest going forward at the moment in game week 17. And I've already spoken about Bournemouth at the moment in terms of how they are going forward. So in terms of form, Bournemouth are really struggling going forward at the moment. If you remove those 2 Harry Wilson goals at Spurs, it looks quite bleak for them recently. I think going back to and before the win they had against Man United, which is that's about 6 game weeks ago now, I think. I think I saw a stat they've won 7 in 27 or something, Bournemouth.
Wow.
I don't know factually, but yeah, and that's relegation form.
Yeah, it's not good.
So, no, it's in reference that to the Liverpool guys, no, they're still staying. They're not going anywhere. I think we already mentioned it briefly. I do think Mane is a rotation risk at the weekend.
I do.
I think he'll play, but I think it's a risk. It's a massive risk to go and captain him in that fixture. That said, he had the highest XA of this game week, which I think should have been more. He had the highest expected FPL points. He's a brilliant asset. And I certainly think, Suj, that once we get on the other side of the Christmas period at least, that Sadio Mane needs to find a way into your FPL team.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it now, already planning towards. And let's see. What are your plans for... That's the games wrapped up. We've got 2 tonight. Sheffield United, Newcastle, and the Gooners against Brighton. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of those 2 games. Have you got anything in mind for what you want to do going into game week 16?
To this weekend?
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm possibly likely to roll, depending on what happens tonight. I mean, if Lundstrom's out, I might force a move somewhere else. The intention pre the midweek fixtures, if Mendy had played at Burnley, I would definitely have gone Mendy to Martin Kelly, and to free me up funds to then look at different options. So I may well be rolling at the moment. Wildcard's close for me. Close. I think I'm gonna wildcard either game week 18 or 19. Right. I think I'm probably gonna do it on game week 18. Decide what I want to do with the Liverpool assets. Make sure I'm covered for that week, and then the Christmas fixtures beyond. There may even be a bit of Spurs in there, believe it or not. Just before we do some Twitter cues.
I haven't said what I'm going to do yet.
Oh, go on then. What are you going to do?
No, go on, what are you going to say?
I was going to run down all the guys that are on 4 yellows.
Oh, yeah. Sterling, Lundstrom, Fleck.
But there's a few, and every single one of these is going to get booked in game week 17, by the way, just so you know.
Go on.
Callum Chambers, Xhaka, Guendouzi, Diego Rico, Stevens, Tarkovsky, Jeff Hendrick, TAA now. He's on 4 yellows. Raheem Sterling, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Aarons, McLean, Baldock, who you got in your Sky team, John Lundstrom, Fleck, who's appeared in a few teams I've seen recently, Harry Winks, Fredericks, and Ruben Neves is sitting in a lot of dead teams. Those are all the guys on 4 yellows. They are all getting booked in game week 17. I'm telling you, every single one of them. There's not too many on free. I looked below at the guys on free. There's, I think Siyunku's one, but there's nobody with mass ownership on 3 yellows at the moment.
I'm tempted by a few moves this week. I've got 2 free transfers. When I've got 2, I don't mind taking a hit and making 3. It might come across a little bit panicky, but I'm not panicking, if you know what I mean. You know, off the back of a bad game week, you're like, shit, let me make loads of transfers. I don't think I'm in that space right now. I'm quite happy with my
sure?
squad. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Yarmolenko's been a problem for weeks that I want to solve.
Been it.
I think Cantwell's sticking his head up again as a cheap, good 4.9 million asset. That gives me the best part of $1 million.
He's 4.7 now, Cantwell.
Is he 4.7? Even better. Gives me...
It's 4.9 I bought at, by the way.
Gives me 1.1 going into the bank. I might bin Chris Wood and bring in Lys Mousset.
I like that move.
That will get me another 1.1 million. Now I've got 2.2 to help me get from Jimenez to Rashford short term if I want to, or Son to Mane if I want to. And chucking into that, sorry to interrupt you, Ederson, I'm happy to bin him now for a cheaper keeper. And then that will give me another $1.5 million.
It will, yes.
And then it'll be very easy for me to bring in Sadio Mane. So I'm just trying to work a way of, do you know what? There's some good cheap options out there. Cantwell has re-emerged. Moose is definitely one. Any of the goalkeepers, probably Henderson. I don't know if I'm happy with a double up on Lundstrom and Henderson, but if I am convinced, then I may do that.
It suddenly offers a differential. The only way to almost get the differential off Lundstrom is to have double defensive Sheffield United,
exactly.
basically.
So that's where I'm thinking of fixing the Yarmolenko problem and downgrading Wood to Moose. And I've only had Wood for a couple of weeks, but I'm fine with that. Away at Norwich, it's a good fixture for Sheffield United.
When I was looking at the Danny Ings numbers, I looked at players under 7 million, and Ings comes out top of just about every metric since game week 7. The only player that beats him in a couple of metrics is Chris Wood. However, I do think that's a good move to get rid.
I mean, look, Wood got hooked at 58 minutes yesterday, so that's one for FPL general. But
if you downgrade Wood to Mousset and then Ederson to Henderson, for example, and suddenly you've got an extra sort of 2.5-ish in the bank, you're going to feel a lot better about what you can do next.
Yeah, and also Yarmolenko to Cantwell, because Yarmolenko's on my bench anyway
so
right now.
Suddenly you've got 4.5.
Yeah, well, that will get me Son to Mane and still have change. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just looking at now, over the next 2 game weeks, trying to bank some cash so that the other side of 18 I can bring back Sadio
Just a
Mane.
warning on your thoughts, if that's your longer term thinking, is to go Son to Mane. By the time you get there and want to do it, you're going to find it very difficult to remove Son. I'm telling you now. It could be.
If I've got enough money, then I could even consider change of formation or something along those lines. But I want to bank the money and get the cheaper players in for stuff just sitting there doing nothing. Yarmolenko's price is only going one way, and that's down.
Just to make sure, whatever you are that's bringing in at the moment, cheap wise, and this is for everybody really, make sure it's something that looks 95% certain to start in game week 18, because you're probably going to need it.
Yes. Should we do a couple of Twitter cues?
Go on, son.
I think they're all a bit mad today.
Oh, okay.
FPL DC 82. Is Delhi essential? No. I mean, off the back of two games where he's returned goals, to jump in and think he's essential, that's saying a lot. Is he a good differential at 8.5 million? That, yeah, agreed. Is he playing further forward off Harry Kane? Yes. Kane dropping deeper lets Ali get in behind? Yes. But not essential. Essential is a very interesting word. The likes of Vardy, Kevin De Bruyne get that essential tag.
Lundstrom.
Dele Alli doesn't,
Lundstrom.
in my world.
Unfortunately.
My man Adam Leatherbarrow, who I think is of the mindset that Haller isn't being used in the right way, and I'm with him a little bit, but I just think he's struggling a bit. Anyway, that's not his question. He's asking another mad question. Mesut Ozil, in or out?
Oh, Adam mentioned this a couple of weeks ago.
He's fit. He's playing in the number 10 role. He already has an assist to his name. His price is less than 7.5 million.
No.
Not for me either.
No.
Why?
What, over like a Maddison or a Pulisic at same values?
Yep.
Stop it.
Find $1 million to get to Delhi.
Stop it. Go and sit in a dark room.
I would buy Grealish at 6 million.
Go and sit in a light room.
Yeah, I'd buy Jack Grealish at 6 million is better value for me. Wilf Zaha at 6.7 is better value for me. There's probably 10 players I could pick that I'd rather buy than Mesut Ozil. And the other thing with that
I can give you more than 10 names.
I'm really trying to steer clear of hit and miss teams like Arsenal's of the world, where 1 week good, next week bad, 1 week good, next week bad. I don't like them. So
the conversation on Arsenal currently, and I don't think this will change following the game tonight, is Aubameyang or no one. Next question, sir.
Morpheus Fire, how are you, my friend? Rico and Dendoncker, 20 points on the bench for him this week. Is it worth starting in game week 18? Well, you're not gonna. That's a bit dependent on your Liverpool assets, but Dendoncker, I think you can start anytime. He was a threat at set pieces a little bit.
Don't forget he's rated as a midfielder.
Yeah, true, but he's a threat at set pieces. I suppose is more where I'm going with that. Rico, I mean, these guys are. You're only going to start them if they're coming in ahead of.
Well, game week 18, Bournemouth at home to Burnley. As long as he stays in that team at the moment, which I'm becoming a little fearful of, then yeah, he starts for you. Then Donko is nice as kind of 12th man, I think, away to Norwich game week 18.
Is it time to reconsider Marcus Rashford? Last season, he's mentioned to me, I had a small man crush on him, and I still think he's a great player and a great asset. I think he's just, his pace and finishing and all the rest of it. I mean, look, his ownership is 18%, I think, the last time I checked. So 1 in 5 of us already have him. So I don't know if reconsider is really the right way to think about him, but yeah, Rashford is a consideration.
Yep, may very well be joining me in game week 17. I think right now he's the best captaincy option in the blank week.
Yep. Away
to Watford.
Let's have a look here. Ali and Rashford make another appearance. If you had to pick one out of Ali or Rashford, because there's only 0.2 between them, Dr. Matt 07, he wants to know, if you had to pick one on last night or form, would you get Dele in or would you get Rashford in?
Well, form Rashford, but if I was buying one this week, it'd still be Ali.
To hold, buy and hold.
I'm not buying Rashford before Man City away. So this time next week, the answer to the question is Rashford.
Yeah.
I think his weight. I think the desperation is he's going to go up in price probably tonight. It looks like, and I get it. It's the fear knowing. I'm going to be buying him at more expensive this week. Is it going to improve your points this week? Please think about points first. And if you generally think he's going to go and tear it up and use his pace to burn apart Kyle Walker and stuff, like he's probably not. And he's going to come inside into areas where he's not going up against the likes of coming in field against Harry Winks. He's going to be coming into the area of Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne and that with different levels. So, no, I would not be buying Marcus Rashford this week. I will wait and buy at a more expensive price next week if I decide to buy him.
Ronan Megan, who regularly asks questions, has put 4 tweets out trying to see a bit. I feel like he's asked questions telepathically knowing exactly what we're going to talk about on the show. He's asking best 4.5 million or less defenders, where we talked about Kelly and Target and all of these guys as well for game week 18.
Martin Kelly.
Yeah, Martin Kelly. He's asking what your plan is when Aguero's fit and where you're going to go from Jesus.
Possibly to Rashford.
Exactly.
Possibly.
He's saying that my set and forget with Edison is set and forget clean sheets, and he reckons I'm going to get Henderson between the sticks by the end of the year.
Yep.
We just spoke about that. And he knows that I'm going to be captaining Vardy this weekend, but who are you going to be captaining? Are you tempted by Jesus? Literally 4 questions.
I am tempted by Jesus. Yeah. Look, Manchester United were good last night, deserved to win. I think they're still shit. I just think Spurs were so much worse than them last night. No excuse for the way Spurs played. United had far more intensity and were better at getting the ball forward into dangerous areas. Spurs didn't hurt United at all. I think Man City are in a position now, we've got to be going at it, or shit or bust. They're nearly at bust already. So I don't think they'll be holding back. No. And if they don't have to worry about the Champions League game the following week.
True. Morpheus had another question, which I didn't ask, which I should have, and which now is a good time to give it a shout out. Next Friday, the 13th of December, we will be at the Who Got the Assist hub meetup in Marylebone, and he wants to know, which Christmas jumper are you going to be wearing?
I ain't wearing a Christmas jumper. Fuck that shit.
Why not?
Because I'm a bit of a Scrooge.
I'm going to get a bespoke.
I don't like Christmas.
I love Christmas.
I like Boxing Day.
I love Christmas.
Christmas Day's boring every year.
Morpheus, just for you, I'm going to design and I'm going to get printed a bespoke PlanetFPL Christmas jumper. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I've got a week and a bit to get it done. That's what I'm going to spend my weekend doing, designing the PlanetFPL Christmas jumper.
All right, do you know what? I'll wear one of them.
Yeah.
We need to have a discussion about colours first. You come up with anything fucking red,
No. It'll be a dark colour, like a dark blue.
Yeah, but something. I know what you think. Oh yeah, the PlanetFPL ball is green. Nice Christmas red jumper.
No.
Forget that.
I would never wear a bright red jumper myself anyway. Fashion faux pas.
Okay.
More questions about Rashford. It feels like really bandwagony at the moment, isn't it?
It normally is. The questions normally are.
Armand's got an A or B question. We can answer that one.
Go on, Em.
Zaha or Maddison?
It's going to be Zaha for me, isn't it?
I feel really comfortable owning Maddison because I've just had him for so long. Nice price rises and nice points returns. Leicester have the same problem as City. It could be anyone out of Tielemans, Barnes, Maddison, Vardy who picks up the attacking returns. There's just so many of them. Whereas Zaha, talisman theory, or like you mentioned with Ings. So maybe Zaha for now, because you can save yourself £1 million with Wilfried Zaha. And we'll have one more question, shall we?
Go on.
Just deciding which one to pick, James. Let's go with this one. Opposite FPL opposites. Who do you think will get relegated this season? Watford are gone, in my mind. Watford are gone.
Everton, we didn't really think about. Actually had 3 big chances at Liverpool, which was joint second most
and
so far this
game. And they play well against
week.
Leicester. I think they'll get out of it.
But Liverpool had more. I think Everton have got
Norwich
too
are
much. Go. They'll be all right.
I think Norwich are going to go for me.
I think Norwich, Watford.
Those two are there.
I still think Southampton. Probably. I think Bournemouth are about to get sucked into this.
Bournemouth, possibly Southampton.
And the guys who've listened
Brighton,
to us
maybe
for 2.5 years will know I've never said that before.
Yeah. Looking ropey.
And something's not right. I don't know if Eddie Howe feels like he's taking it maybe as far as he can. And he's starting to look at some of these sort of West Ham, Everton jobs and thinking
it's time.
He's now,
but 9 years is a long time at a club. It's a very long time at a club for Eddie Howe.
Yeah, and do you know what? It might even come back to the same sort of problems Spurs have had with Pochettino in terms of are the players getting bored of the same thing over and over again?
Yeah.
It's possible. I mean, that squad's been, the majority of that squad has been together for a long time now.
I'm going to answer your question, FPL opposite. It is going to be Watford, Norwich. If West Ham are in the bottom 3 come New Year's Day, West Ham are going to get relegated this year. That's my prediction.
If you get relegated, what happens to Tottenham? We talk about Championship football. No one wants to hear that, mate.
We'll just scrap the show, mate. We'll find something else to talk about. There's always stuff to talk about. There's always stuff to talk about. Thank you for tuning in to this shorter than regular episode, but it is a tight turnaround where Game Week 15 hasn't finished and 16 is 48 hours away now. So we thought we'd get that episode out for you, rattle through the games as we could and give you a bit of insight into what's happening. We'll be back with you with the final plan Friday morning where we'll run down our transfers. We'll have a cheeky look at North v South because I haven't. I better have a look at that. And then we'll be back next week as per usual. What's on the agenda next week, James?
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things we'll be discussing tomorrow is potentially a differential replacement for Anthony Martial.
Yeah.
We'll also we'll run through, as we would do on this show, the 2 games that are taking place tonight as well. We'll give them a bit of attention. Next week, what have we got next week? People's Poll Monday, Planet FPL podcast Monday.
Are we doing it Monday before the...
Before you go to West Ham.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah. We've got to fit a lot in recording-wise Monday, Tuesday, because I'm going to Deutschland on Wednesday.
You are as well, aren't you?
So we are Monday morning, People's Poll, Planet FPL podcast before West Ham Arsenal. Tuesday will be Tottenham, where we'll obviously talk a lot about West Ham against Arsenal. Wednesday, Sky.
We might talk a lot about West Ham Arsenal.
Thursday, Clash of the Correspondents, more West Ham, FPL Gaffer, and FPL Addicts are Southampton and West Ham correspondents. And then Friday, final plan, and then we go again.
Interesting. 2 correspondents that I've met in real life actually going to be on the show. That'll be nice. So there we go. A lot of content coming at you as per usual. Please do share Planet FPL Love with all your FPL playing friends and family. Even if you do know that our amazing advice is going to make them better and they may even beat you in your mini leagues. Hit subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher to make sure that you get notified whenever we put any content out. Oh, one other thing, if we can chuck it out there. This conversation is probably not the most sensible FPL conversation you've had all week.
I'm looking at you blank.
You had another FPL conversation with Iceman and Bully.
Oh, yeah.
Let's give that a little shout out.
I had a brilliant night recording Monday night with the Iceman and Bully from FPL Surgery.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners know about FPL Surgery, and if you don't, make sure you have a listen.
Unfortunately, the Iceman recorded into the arse of his mic rather than the front of it. So the audio...
It's not bad. Yeah, I had a listen. It's
did you listen to
fine.
It?
Yeah.
I think it was
perfectly fine.
It was a really good pod.
Yeah. Of course, it's the most sensible conversation you had all week.
Brilliant. Yeah, it was. I had to really take some. I went properly armed for a Wilfred Zaha argument with the lads. Yeah, it was good fun. I enjoyed that. They're great guys.
You can find them at FPL Surgery on Twitter. So you just have a listen. And a lot of the topic of conversation is relevant, not just for like this game week, but going in forward as well. We
talked a lot about Spurs. We talked about Danny Ings, Lise Mousset, Zaha, Mane, Vardy. Yeah. All that jazz. Yeah, good fun.
I like Bully because I think Bully is similar to you in that.
Do you not like Iceman?
No. It's that's not the point I'm making. The point is that I think Bully's like you in the mindset that he's firm in his decision making. He makes a decision and he sticks with it.
But the Iceman's held on to Aubameyang and been captaining him, hasn't he?
That's Arsenal tinted glasses, I think, a little bit.
Well, yeah. It did help I got on at the time when Arsenal was suffering and Spurs had just had a good winning run. I wouldn't look forward to it so much now, I don't think.
Nah, fair play. But do have a listen to that. I did a FPFY today, which was fun as always. I think that's going out... What day is it? Thursday?
Yeah.
Friday. I got stitched up on the quiz, mate. I feel like I was stitched up, but I have no evidence of this until they put it out. They did a higher or lower game where you had to... like A or B, which is higher or lower, and it was price increases this year. So it was like, how many can you do in a minute or 45 seconds or whatever? So who's had the biggest price increase this year? Well, yeah, fine, okay. Like KDB versus Salah, all good. KDB, get it. And then Moise Keane versus Glenn Murray, and I'm just sitting there like, it was Keane versus Murray. I'm like, you mean Moise Keane? Yeah, and you mean Glenn Murray? I'm like, how have either of these two players had a price rise this season?
But they haven't. Price falls, right?
Well, apparently it wasn't who's had the biggest price rise, it's who's had the biggest price change. And I was mildly confused, thinking how have they had a price rise?
Moise Ken.
I don't even fucking know at this point. I was just pissed off with the question. But so that's going out. You always have, that's only a half an hour watch or what have you. So enjoy that. And that'll keep you going. Other than that, ciao for now.
Cue music, man child. Good luck, everybody.
The Fantasy Football Show.